Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
This week on Muskogee Vision, we bring you the sights and sounds of the College of Muskogee Nation 2019 graduation, which took place on April 27th. To view more photos of this event, head to the college's Facebook page. On this week's show, we take a look at new diagnostic equipment training at Eufaula Indian Health Center. Muskogee Historical and Cultural Foundation board members speak about the importance of the organization. We profile a Creek roller derby star as well as a veteran that shares his family tradition of horticulture. Thanks for watching Muskogee Vision, and we'll have those stories to you after this break. Hey guys, it's your Muskogee Vision community calendar. Basket Making with Mom, Saturday, May 11th. For more information, call 539-286-4663. There will be a hiring event May 7th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the River Spirit Event Center. Address is 8330 South Riverside Parkway in Tulsa. Over 150 positions available. There will be on-site interviews. 2019 Senior Games, Friday, May 31st. For more information, contact Christy Carson at 918-732-7765. 2019 Elder Fair, May 8th at Green Country Technology Center. Questions, call 918-549-2459. Spirit of Oklahoma Football Camp. For more information, call Muskogee Youth Services. Question, persuade, and refer. Ask a question, save a life. For more information, call 918-758-1930. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at some of these great events.
Muskogee Vision recently visited the Eufaula Indian Health Center to get the first look at new diagnostic equipment soon to be in use by staff.
Well, our main objective is to give organizations an opportunity to be able to do complete fitness and wellness assessments on their members. We work with a wide range of people interested in improving healthy lifestyles. We work with hospital-based wellness, which is really what this facility is. We work a lot with colleges and universities. We work a lot with fire and police departments. As a matter of fact, both the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma City, use the same software we're using here in this facility. What I'm doing is I'm giving them training on some integrated testing tools that have been out there a long time. Treadmill, Monarch 828E testing bike with a RoboBike feature that automatically controls workload. That's an improvement over just the bike itself. We have a force platform where we can measure upper body strength safely. We have both the skin fold calipers, and we have the BIA unit, which is the Accunique BC380 to measure body composition by simply standing on the platform and having an electronic current sent through the body at various points where they can measure the degree of fatness, the actual weight of the muscle on each arm and the legs and so on. Pretty sophisticated stuff, but it's not really overly complicated. The reports we give explain the significance of the results in a very simple format, which will motivate, we hope, a lot of people to begin to make changes. Well, we have organizations that have been able to accumulate significant numbers of client data. For example, there are two facilities, medically based facilities. One is through the University of North Carolina, where they have actually created since 1997 over 43,000 client records. And that information is vitally important to people that are involved in health planning and health screenings. We have a software that has really superior analytics to be able to analyze population health, for example. Recently, we went to China with Dr. Weimo Zhu and Wilson Zhu, who had gone through the Cooper Institute there in Dallas. We've been very much impacted by the Cooper Institute, and we're awarded the contract to bring this facility, or bring our technology and our software into those facilities, which they're now referring to as the mini Cooper centers of China. So over the years, we've been able to take a look at a lot of groups who are in approximately 80% of all U.S. military bases worldwide. The main land bases, not so much the ships, but we've had a very significant role to play with our U.S. military in terms of military readiness since 1987, when we began working with the Air Force. This is one of the nicest facilities that I've been to in quite some time. I spent 6 weeks ago, I spent a similar amount of time with Navajo Nation, right there in the border of Arizona and New Mexico. In fact, Fort Defiance Hospital is in Arizona, not more than about 300 yards away across the street. In New Mexico, you had their wellness center. So wellness is becoming particularly important in prevention of diseases and also in terms of prevention. And I think that's one of the things why our program is highly successful, is we have a way of measuring, documenting, and finding out how effective the program is. As far as training, I'm able to come in here in one day because the people I'm training are highly trained to begin with through some of your local colleges, universities. They're familiar with the testing procedures. We bring them the tools to do it maybe a little more efficiently. And also Dwayne Tiger, who is in charge of the diabetes prevention program. I've worked with him going back, I believe, 10 years at Seminole Nation. So this is not really a completely new experience for the people that have come in. Kimberly, for example, Kimberly Little, who is also involved with the exercise program, she received her training along with Dwayne. I think it's at East Central Oklahoma University. So yeah, we plan to be around a long time. I'm 74, but I started this thing at 41, and I'm having so much fun visiting fine facilities like this and the people I work with. Gives me a lot of energy to keep going myself.
On April 6, 2019, the Muskogee Historical and Cultural Foundation held its monthly board meeting in downtown Okmulgee. Muskogee Vision attended the meeting and spoke to board members Shannon Prescott and John McConnell about the foundation's importance and impact in the community.
I was requested to join our foundation board to assist with different fundraising ideas, and I was actually requested by Patrick Moore. I've lived in the community and worked in the community the last 20 years. I'm an attorney in town, so my office is here locally. I've worked for the nation in the capacity of a prosecutor and assistant attorney general. So I've spent a lot of time in our community working with different organizations, helped develop different, plans and policies for different boards, and so I think that's why I was requested to be a part. Of course, the foundation's purpose is to continue our history and our culture, and one way of doing that is local tours of buildings and the council house, and just kind of getting that history out there, so not only is it known to this generation, but continues to sustain over time. And so that would be one thing, walking tours, looking at different locations. Also, we're going to do an event where it's more of a fundraising, but we'll have Native American art, speakers, just more of a cultural approach to our foundation. This is a volunteer position. It's something that you have to have a passion for, a heart for. And so being a tribal member and also being Yuchi, it's important for just not myself, but my family to be involved with things that are beneficial to not only our community, but to my culture. And so we meet monthly to discuss upcoming events, talk about things that are going on, maybe local events we can become a part of that are also cultural too. So we stay pretty busy. Once you get past one thing, it's the next time to plan another event. So we try to stay monthly at this point. I think it's very important, especially because of the cultural connection. This foundation was salvaged. I mean, it looked like it was going to die if we weren't able to take that over, and I know Patrick Moore was a big part of that. And I think that's important, of course, to our community because this was the Creek capital. It is the Creek capital. And so to maintain that culture and history is so important for our community. So being a part, I was the prior chamber president. I've been on different boards, and I'm ready to serve the community, but this was very important to me because, again, it's continuing on. I have children that are Indian. You know, I have both girls that are both tribal members, and it's just important to continue that because I'm going to pass just as you are, and we want to be able to pass that culture on.
John McConnell is the owner and operator of the historic Orpheum Theater and has been involved in restoration efforts in Okmulgee for several years.
I've had quite a bit of involvement with local history, but you know, I wasn't born here, so what I've picked up has just come out of interest in how the town developed. And one of my main interests is in improving the relationship between the community and the Creek Nation tribe. It hadn't been so good in previous years when I came, and I thought that needed some improvement. Also, I knew that the Creek Nation had artifacts that needed to be preserved, and I was interested in preserving them for future display eventually. I think it's very important. To preserve the history of the Creek Nation is one of the things that we want to do, and if we weren't doing it, I'm not sure it would get done. We've had board members who donate money to see that they get done. Thank goodness we have members like that. And I'm willing to donate a small amount of money. And you know, in the community, to try to preserve our architecture, I make small donations. Last year, I offered 3 $1,000 donations to any building owner who would restore their facade. Only one of them got accepted. The other 2, they didn't get their ducks lined up. But nevertheless, I try to give a little bit of seed money just to encourage people to not give up and to continue with upgrading downtown. I think we have good members. I think we have a great leader in Pat Moore, and I'm happy with our other members that we have. I'm happy that we have the attorney Shannon Prescott on board now. She's a wealth of wisdom. I think that we're doing well.
For more information on the Muskogee Historical and Cultural Foundation, or to become a member, visit mh-cf.org.
Roller derby is a contact sport that requires balance, speed, and athleticism. Muskogee Media asked Muskogee Creek citizen Joshua Ciudad del Valle, the star jammer of the Tulsa Derby Brats roller derby team, how he got started in the physically demanding sport.
My mom got me into it because she went to a skating rink down in Sand Springs, and then she saw a derby team there and they were doing all this stuff, and you know, she joined it. But then one day she came home and told me that there was a junior team, and like I didn't know what it was at the time. When she came home and told me about roller derby, I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. And she brought me to the skating rink, and then like it was session, and then, like all these kids and stuff were skating. Like, wow, I haven't skated in a long time because I was used to like, you know, rollerblades instead of these type of skates. Yeah. And I started skating for a few, and then one day the practice was going, which was like a Monday night. I was like, you know, hi, my name is Josh, and you know, I'm here to play and hear what derby is. And then I started to like, you know, watch the other kids, you know, play and do all this cool stuff. I'm like, man, this is really cool. We all do these like, you know, fall drills so we can like feel like be safe. Gotta learn to keep our fingers tucked in so we don't people run over our fingers and stuff. So my first derby name was Dragon Force because, you know, I like the band. And then one day, I think we were like, I don't know how really it started, but people were saying like two braids, not two braids, like 2 Chainz, and like 2 Chainz, like the rapper and stuff, like 2 braids, and it was just put my hair in braids, and that's how I got basically the name. Before this, like I like kind of did just baseball and like soccer and stuff, but that when I was like a little kid because it was hard for me to like, you know, figure out like what really to do. And like I was tired of the swinging and tired of like the kicking and stuff. Like I just want to do like, you know, physical stuff.
Joshua has tried out for Team Indigenous, a roller derby team made up of native people from North and South America, in the hopes that he can join them in their attempt to compete in the Roller Derby World Cup.
My grandfather, probably 3 times removed from Alabama, is the one who had the forethought to think about what they were going to need in Oklahoma. I know from talking to my grandmother that Creeks didn't wear clothes that had pockets on them, so everything that they had, you know, they had to carry in a pouch or something, and that's how I'm assuming these peach seeds were brought to Oklahoma. My great-great-grandfather, his original allotment was over at Fountainhead Park on the 13th green, and these are where those trees came from originally. So he planted those and had an orchard over there, and eventually, when the Corps brought the Lake Eufaula in, they eventually had to sell it to the government, and after that they moved back down over here just east of where I live, and so they've actually been moved 2 or 3 times since they were first brought here to Oklahoma. It's probably been 10 or 15 years ago before I realized how important these were. I started talking to people about them. Everybody heard about them. A lot of people even knew and tasted them, but they had never, seen any in recent times. And that's when I realized first, how important these things really were. So I started trying to take care of them, but as you can see, the brush and everything is pretty much taken over. I'm still working on it by myself. Some of my family come down and help me on occasion, but really it's something that I'm probably going to need some help with at some point, and I'll be asking people. A lot of people wrote and asked about my peaches from the newspaper article, and at some point I'd like to invite some of those people down to help me clear this out, so I can find them all. If you want to take a minute, we can look around. I think I can point some out they'll be hard to see. There's some stumps in here too that I've cut, so watch your step there. But this is a really nice size one right here. That's almost too big for me to feel comfortable with transplanting, but see, there are 2 more here, 1 there. Actually, a little grove of them right through here. Some of them I've marked with tape so I won't brush hog them or anything, but right here I'd say this is 2, 4, 6, 8. This is about a dozen right here, and they're scattered out all through this brush and everything, and in the wintertime is when I prefer to transplant them. So they're easier to see, for one thing, because all of this green is gone. But we're doing this today, just so that we can show people the process. And normally I wouldn't be transplanting them this late, but Dana Tiger, the artist, was one of the first people to come down. She's a longtime friend of our family, and she came down probably about 5 years ago and got a couple of trees, and I go up and visit them sometimes at her studio in Muskogee, and she sits out there and sings to them and takes real good care of them. Here's another good size one here. I had planned on pruning this back a little bit because it's got a lot of low-hanging limbs that they're not good to have a limb like this. All the limbs need to be going up like that. If this gets very many peaches on it, it'll break. So there's kind of an interesting thing that's happened here. My real grandfather died after coming back from World War I, and my mother was raised by my step-grandfather, who was Stehetki, and he raised us like his own children, so his own grandchildren. So I learned a lot from him, and he was instrumental in making sure that I knew the importance of this. But he's actually the one who took the most care out of them, and he wasn't even Indian, you know. But he knew the significance of it. My grandmother was still alive at the time. She's the one who told the story the first time, and they were in actually a whole lot better shape when he was alive. And like I was saying earlier, I didn't realize how important these things really were until it was almost too late. So anyway, this is another one of the bigger trees that I've got. I'm sure we had one freeze when they were blooming, and it looks like it might have got some of the flowers while they were out, but some of them still look good, so I might get some peaches out of these. My grandfather that raised me was a farmer, and he knew a lot about raising vegetables and fruit and everything. And he introduced another other peach trees that actually had white flesh on them. And this, to me, it's kind of goes along with our story as Creeks. You know, those white peach trees were planted back on the south side of the house there. Of course, in the summertime, in the spring, the wind blows primarily from the south. So all of the Indian peach trees that were here, not all of them, but some of them were cross-pollinated with the white peach trees. So what we have is some mixed peaches, you know. We have some that are like white with a red, pink interior, you know, and then we have some that are half and half. But I think I can still identify the actual Indian peaches, because we'll have to find one. But so you saw the ones that we saw earlier. I didn't recognize exactly how the color of their bark was, but I'll see if I can find one out here. Let's see, this right here, this could be more mixed because this bark is a little lighter. Let me see if I can find one that has it. It's got, what it has is, it'll be a darker, almost a purplish bark color. Okay, let's see. It's lost a little bit of its color right there, but well, this would be the closest color to what I'm talking about right there on this little limb here. Boy, get back, boy. When they first come up, hey, boy, come on. Canal, boy. When they first come up, they're this color. This bark right here would have been that color right there. So I know that that's a true Indian peach there. Here's one that's a little bit smaller, and it's still got that darkness to it right there. That's pretty good. And this is a little bit darker also. So these are all from this tree here, and there's a few others in here. So I know these are all pretty much full bloods. The first thing I wanted to do was get peaches back out to the people that know about them, that have who've just heard stories about them. The next thing I wanted to do was get some to the tribe on the tribal complex grounds over there. And as a result of the newspaper article, a gentleman asked me if I had thought about getting seeing about the possibility of getting any trees planted up near the council oak in Oklahoma and Tulsa, and I really like that idea the most. The council tree, of course, was here when we got here, but I think it would be really a good thing to have some of the trees that came down the Trail of Tears with us up there.
Yeah.
The first place that the council met. So that's basically it. I'm trying to get it out to people, and everybody who's written, I could tell it was from the heart. They were actually telling me their own stories of what they remember of them. Basically the same as mine. When I was growing up, when the peaches were ripe, we'd come down to my grandmother's house and gorge ourselves on them. You could just pick them off the tree and pick them up off the ground. And they're not very big, they're about that big at the very most. And they're what's called a cling peach, in that the flesh sticks to the seed. So you really kind of have to gnaw on them to get everything off of them. But my grandmother was somebody who canned and preserved everything. She had like hundreds of cans of preserves, and she always preserved peaches for us for the summertime, for the winter time. And I remember having them on a hot biscuit at her house, and some of the best biscuits I ever had, But later on, as she got older and wasn't able to can or preserve, she would still pick all those peaches and freeze them. And after she had passed away, even several years after she had gone, I was able to dig down to the bottom of their freezer and find some of those peaches and eat them. And it just meant the world to me. And I guess it was shortly after that I began to realize how important they were. This is probably 15 years ago or so. And that's when I first had the idea of trying to get them out to other people, because, like I was saying, I didn't want to be the last one to have them. And I realized that they weren't really mine to begin with. They belong to everybody. And that's all I'm trying to do, is get them back into the hands of people that deserve them.
Thanks to everyone who made Muskogee Vision possible this week, and congratulations to all the graduates of the College of Muskogee Nation. Remember, Mado means thank you, and Hadamji Ijathi means see you later.